Hey, yo, Choice here. Thanks for joining me again for another session of Choice Spirit. I'm just sharing information to help us to get on track of living our best life to the fullest, full out. And so I'm working on myself, and I figured why not share as I go forward because it's just me. Anyway, just sharing. Um, I had been talking, I had been jumping on here making videos, just talking off the top of my head about different topics. And someone asked me about perception. And they said, you throw about these words, maybe you should explain them, go a little deeper into it so that it makes it easier for someone to apply these things from day to day. And I didn't stop to think about that. I was just thinking, well, without perception, we wouldn't be able to experience the world around us. We would not have an environment if we weren't able to perceive an environment. But it made a lot of sense. So here I am doing my best to explain perception. Perception is necessary in order for us to have an outside world. Because what happens is our everything comes in as wave form. So if we listen to what is being talked about now, as far as things not being a particle that's creating all that we see, it's now a waveform that is creating all that we see. So this is the deal. Our body is like a sensory, a communication. I don't want to call it a device, but it's actually a transmitter and a receiver. It picks up information and it transmits information. It emits information. It sends out. Now, based on who you are being and your state of being, in other words, if you're feeling good, what's going to go out are signals of this feel good. And so it goes out into the ether. Think of tentacles or something just going out in all directions. And anything that is of like nature, vibratory, it's at a similar frequency or the same frequency, but anything that is like what you are being is what then connects. And when that connects, when your energy connects with that energy, you feel a sensation. You feel a sensation as a result of connecting to other energies. And then as that energy comes in, your brain processes it like, what is this? What is this sensation? And it tries to make connections with information that it knows about from past experiences, information that we have been taught along the way, information that's stored within the brain. So it makes these connections to these type of things. And then based on these connections, there's a thought. And I don't know if you looked at watched one of my videos that talked about thought, where we're actually thinking between 50 to 85,000 thoughts, so they say, a day. And we are only aware of a small percentage of that. I mean, depending on how clueless we are, maybe 2% to 10% of the thoughts that are going through our minds daily. And much of the thoughts are things like, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I go this way? Should I should I make a phone call or make my bed, or various things like that. All types of thoughts come to us, but we don't give it much thought. It just comes and it goes, or either it comes and we act on it, or we respond to it. But thoughts that come through us out of these 50 to 80 something thousand thoughts, they say many of these thoughts are negative. Many of the thoughts are negative, and I'd like to go into that in another video of why that might be. When the thoughts come in, we make sense of those thoughts, and we either let it go and don't think anything of it, or we think on those things. Then maybe after we think on these things, we have an emotion, a feeling about these things, about whatever it is that we're thinking about. Or we judge whatever we're thinking about. And based on that, it will either become a part of your belief system, or it just falls, it just continues on its way. So your awareness of it is one thing, but then your awareness of it and your thinking on, so now you are judging it, labeling it, defining it, and now you have brought that into your world as maybe a part of your laws that you use to govern yourself. And again, on one of my other videos, I talk about how the energy that is formless, nameless, comes into you, is flowing through you, can only operate based on your belief system, the laws that you govern your person by. So when that information comes in, based on your perception of that information, your belief system is formed, and then so whatever as the energy flows through you, it can only operate according to your perception of things, how you see things. And your perception is basically what you call it, so it is. What you believe it to be, so it is. And the energy that flows through you cannot go beyond, cannot go outside of those boundaries. And this is what, free will is. You have the right to form your boundaries any way you'd like, and your energy will conform to those boundaries. So perception is what we believe it to be. And perception is necessary for us to have a human experience, if you will. It's necessary for us to create an environment, to create a world around us in which we can exist. And so when we know how we perceive things, when we can get hold of what certain sensations mean, or just being aware and mindful of the various sensations that come in through our bodies, we can then begin to shape our perception to align with that we choose to call forth. Form new ideas, new ideologies, just create a different belief system. Once you become mindful of what you're thinking, how you are forming these perceptions, and whether or not the way that you are labeling and defining these various sensations, whether or not that is helping you to call forth the things that you choose to have in your life. Now also remember this, that whatever state of being you are in, your receptors that you are sending out, those tentacles and information that you're emitting, can only vibe with like vibes. Remember that. It can only vibe with like vibes. So if you're being miserable as all get out, as that stuff goes out, you're only going to attract more misery. That's why it's important to just find anything and everything that you can appreciate, find a way to love something that's good. Don't send your love to any old thing, but you understand. We can find good in all things. But because when you're vibing like that, when you're feeling in that way, you are actually calling forth that, connecting with those type of vibes. Because you can only connect with that is similar to your vibratory frequency. You can only connect, tune into, if you will, to that which that works with you. Okay? So if you're pissed off, you're not going to find anything that's really, feeling very good, because you won't be able to feel it. You won't be able to see it. You won't experience it because you're walking around pissed off. So that's it. Choice here. Hit the subscribe. I'm working my way through this. Just share with me, and we can learn this thing together and move forward together. Much love. Peace.